Hi everyone, welcome to our video. I'm Lisa here from Down to Earth Gardening, and it's just about the holidays. We're just a couple days away, and so I thought it would be a great time to talk about some houseplants, indoor gardening, because it might give you some ideas for a last minute holiday gift, which people can enjoy all through the winter. These are great winter houseplants, or also if you're looking for a gift for yourself. So I'm going to show you today, I've got my hot cider that I am going to put down. I'm going to show you today 4 of my favorites. There are many beautiful winter houseplants and quite a few even traditional holiday houseplants. But these are just 4 of my favorites. I did go to the greenhouse the other day, and you can probably see some videos of me shopping. It's so beautiful to see all these bright colors. I'm already missing my gardens and my flowers, so I have a lot of fun going to the greenhouse or the florist in the winter, even if it's just to window shop. But I bought a few things that I want to show you. So for these 4 houseplants, I'm going to give you first a little bit about each one. So just some fun facts or some info about them, and then some care, just some basic care for each plant. So I'm going to try to keep it a little brief, even though you probably all know by now that I could talk forever about flowers and gardening. But just to give you some different options for a gift or for some winter houseplants. So, of course, number 1, we're going to start with the poinsettia. And this is a very widely known Christmas or holiday houseplant, mainly because you commonly see the beautiful red and green. So I think it's just really lovely, and this is a nice traditional plant. However, when I was shopping for poinsettias, I saw some other really beautiful colors, and I picked up this one that I couldn't resist. It's a red and ivory, which is really pretty. But in my fun shopping video, you can see in the greenhouse they had quite a few of the ivory and the white. They also had some pink and some mauves. So really beautiful options that I don't want you to forget about. So just some fun stuff about the poinsettia is that the poinsettia is actually a tropical plant. It is native to Mexico and Central America. And where it does grow there, it is actually known as a tree or a shrub because they get up to about 13 feet tall. So it's kind of funny because we're used to seeing them as houseplants in their little pots. And then the other fun thing that's really interesting is most of us think that the petals here are the flowers, but they are actually the bracts. The flower is actually right in the center and very tiny. So it's the flower bracts that are very showy here. And then of course underneath you can see the beautiful green leaves. So just some fun stuff about the poinsettia. So as far as care goes, as I said, they are a tropical plant. So what that means for us, especially for me here in zone 6A, where the winters get very cold, is you have to be really careful, even as a house plant, to not expose them to the cold. So in getting them from the greenhouse to the car, because I'm shopping for these in December, it's already 30, 40 degrees, very chilly out. You want to be really careful when you're purchasing them and even just bringing them to your car and getting them home. It can be a little bit of a challenge because they are really fussy when it comes to getting cold. If it gets down to 50 degrees, they will wilt and just die, very unhappy when they get cold. So when you purchase them, make sure that they have some kind of covering and they're in a nice sleeve, and you just hustle them right to your car and get them straight home. Don't make any other stops for errands. So I maybe go a little bit overboard with this, and I of course look for the closest parking spot by the door and hustle them out, warm up my car, and then get them straight home. But I really just want to be careful with them. So with that said, the temperature in your house should be about 65 to 70 degrees, and it should be pretty consistent for them. They do like indirect light, so you can put them in a window. East or west facing is great, but you want to make sure that that window isn't drafty, so no drafts. You don't want to put them near a door that you're going to be opening and closing, because even just that little amount of inconsistency will affect them. So for light, it's indirect light. And then for watering, it's pretty basic. You just want to test the surface of the soil, and when they're dry, you want to give them a good drink. And you want to make sure that the pot they're in has good drainage, which if they are potted up and you buy them, they're going to have some nice well-drained soil in them, and in a container with some holes. So that's about it for care, but I do also want to mention that they are very hard to get to rebloom, particularly in the colder zones. If you live in a warmer winter climate, you may have more luck with them in overwintering them. But for me here, I have to be honest with you and tell you that my goal is really just to get them to bloom as long as possible. And then when they're done blooming, I will compost them, sadly, because they are just so tricky in my zone here to keep going. But I do think that they make a beautiful and traditional holiday gift for someone, or even just decorating your own home. Our next plant is the Christmas cactus. And so I have two beautiful colors for you to show you here today. But these come in so many different colors, shades of peach and salmon and rose, magenta, pink, white, red, just gorgeous. And you can see some more colors in our shopping video where I had so much fun. It's a little bit overwhelming because there's so much to choose from. But just some fun facts about the Christmas cactus is it's a native plant to Brazil, so it grows in the rainforest, and it will often just grow right on trees and rocks, which is kind of fun. So they do make a really pretty hanging plant as well. They have tubular flowers, and you can see the beautiful serrated leaves here. And although we do usually see them flowering around Christmas time, if they're cared for properly, you will get a rebloom from them. So these plants, I find it so interesting. They are pretty hardy and such easy care plants that you will even see them passed down in families. I do remember as a child, my grandmother loved Christmas cactus and violets, and she had a big marble top table where she had them all displayed. And I just remember at Christmas time being so fascinated that that's when the Christmas cactus would bloom. But she had some beautiful houseplants. So yes, they can live for decades, which is really fun to keep in the family. So for care, this is another plant that likes pretty consistently warm temperatures. So if your house is between 65 and 70, it'll be really happy. Again, indirect sunlight. So these do not really like direct sun, so I wouldn't put them right in a south-facing window. So east or west-facing window, and even a little bit back from the window so the light is a little bit filtered. Watering is similar to the poinsettia. I mean, this is also a natively tropic plant. So you want to just touch the surface of the soil, and if it's dry, you want to give it some water. So well drained pot. This would be a great plant to put in a clay pot, and that is because the clay will wick away the moisture. The Christmas cactus does not like to be sitting in standing water. So once the flowers are done, which they're starting to fade on this magenta one here, I really love this one, not only because it's a bright color, but because I purchased it and it's in different stages here, so you can see a lot of the buds on it. So once the flowers fade, you can go ahead and deadhead them, which is fairly easy because you can see how the leaves are growing in segments. So the trick is to just snip them right here. You can kind of see in between the segments. And I wouldn't hesitate, to go a little lower because it will force them to be bushier. So once you deadhead them, don't snip them again, because then what's happening is they're forming new leaves and buds to reflower again. But pretty simple care. And again, a fun plant to hand down. So this is my number 2, and I do think this is also a beautiful holiday gift and a beautiful winter house plant that's pretty easy care. Next house plant on the list is cyclamen, which is commonly called the florist cyclamen because there's also hardy cyclamen that goes right into the ground. But today we're talking about the house plant or the florist cyclamen, which is Cyclamen persicum. So this house plant you can find all throughout the year, but I'm really drawn to it over the holidays, especially when I see the bright reds and the whites. But these also caught my eye, and I think I will enjoy these a lot after the holidays as well. So beautiful floral display, and I also love the leaves, which are variegated and heart-shaped, so they're also pretty interesting. So I also have to show you, I mentioned the red and white, I found these little miniature cyclamen houseplants, and I thought these were so adorable. This also gives you a chance to see the bright red and how much they remind me of the holidays. But these are for my granddaughter to bring to her preschool teachers. Nice little gifts. We're just going to put a little ribbon and a fun note on them. But so beautiful. So cyclamen are native to parts of Europe and the Mediterranean. These are so gorgeous. And they are pretty easy to care for. There's one little trick I'm going to tell you about. So I do have to say that they are pretty similar to the poinsettia and also the Christmas cactus in that you like to keep your house temps 65 to 70, and they do like some filtered sunlight, indirect sun. So another plant that would be great for an east or west facing window, or if you have a very bright window, you just want to make sure to step it back a little bit. And then after it flowers, you want to make sure you deadhead it. So you're just going to pinch or snip off the stems, the individual stems, when the blooms fade. And also with the leaves, if they start to yellow or brown, you want to snip those too. The reason for that is it's going to be able to divert more of its energy into the blooms and the healthy leaves. So by leaving the faded blooms and the yellow or brown leaves on, you're taking that energy away from it really putting on its show here. So you want to be sure to do that. So for watering, they are a little bit trickier because I'm looking for my watering can. They don't like to have their leaves or their stems wet. So a watering can like this with a narrow spout, so you can really get in there and water, is nice. And you want to water them, it's usually every 7 to 10 days. But again, you want to check the surface, get your finger in there a little bit and see if it's dry, and then give it a good drink. And of course, some nice, well-drained soil. But the other trick is you can also put them in a saucer and water them from the bottom, which is what I like to do. And in fact, when I brought the baby cyclamen home from the greenhouse, they started wilting. And once they start wilting, you don't want to leave them in that state. You want to get them water right away. You really shouldn't be waiting until then. But I panicked and I filled up a shallow saucer with some water and I set them in it, and now they look fantastic. They actually perked up right away, but don't leave them in that state. So the tricky part with the cyclamen is that it does like to have a dormant period. So a lot of people, when they see the plant die back, they assume that it's dead, but it's not. Don't throw the plant out or put it in your compost. Once your flowers have all faded, the leaves will eventually die back. So once the flowers are gone, you're still going to want to leave it in the filtered sunlight, and you want to be giving it water every 7 to 10 days. But then you're going to see that the leaves are going to die back, and you're going to be pretty much left with a little pot of soil. The plant is not dead yet. So it's going into dormancy, and what we need to do to help it is we need to put it in a dark spot for 2 to 3 months with a lower temp. So usually 50 to 55 degrees is good. So garage, basement, dark, cool closet would be ideal. But you don't want to forget about it. You do want to check it periodically. I would say on average every 2 to 3 weeks, and don't give it a full drink, but just take your mister and mist the soil a little bit. Then after 2 to 3 months, you can take it out of storage, bring it out of dormancy and help it along, and put it right back in that filtered sunlight, and then just go ahead and start your routine of watering it approximately every 7 to 10 days, and you'll see some beautiful, lush new growth. So this is another beauty that I think would make a great holiday gift. Okay, our number 4 houseplant, and I think this one takes center stage, is the amaryllis. So gorgeous houseplant in cooler climates like mine. Now I think that these are fairly easy. I've had lots of fun with these over the years, giving them as gifts. They're very easy to start by the bulb, or you can purchase them potted like I've done here. Now the amaryllis comes in so many different varieties. They come in some different shades of whites and reds and pink. Some of them really remind me of a candy cane. You can get striped, ruffled, shorter, taller, different heights. But I think they're just gorgeous. I bought a couple here. This here is called Double King. I love it when they're marked here, because then I can let you know what I've got. And then I have another one here. I'm going to show you the tag because this one is still budded. That's called Design. Just so you can see what that one's going to look like. I tried to buy them in a couple different stages. So the amaryllis is native to parts of South America. But like I said, they make a fantastic houseplant, and I love them for the holidays. And what you want to do is, especially if you're starting them by the bulb, is you want to start them a good 8 to 10 weeks before Christmas. So really early November, you should be getting them going if you're starting them by bulb. Or you want to be bringing them out so they can start their flower cycle and then be flowering for the holidays. But for care, they're pretty easy. I think they are a really good beginner houseplant, and I think they can be a lot of fun too, and you can keep these for years. What you need to do is put them in your filtered sunlight, just like the other plants that we've been talking about. They do like their temperatures also very consistent. Watering is pretty simple. You again want to be testing the surface. You just don't want to be watering the top of the bulb, which is called the neck of the plant. You actually just want to be watering the soil. So these I not only see in pots, but I also see the bulbs wrapped in moss, put right directly into water, the bulb, where you can see the roots growing. Or I think the newest thing that I've seen is them wrapped in wax. So there's a lot of fun things that you can do. I also see people decorate the surface of the pots, you know, with moss or pine cones or different color pebbles. So they're definitely a plant that you can have a lot of fun with. So the watering in the sunlight is pretty similar to the other houseplants that we've talked about, but I think the difference is, much like the cyclamen, the amaryllis also needs a dormancy period, so we need to help them out a little bit. So again, I'm in zone 6A, so I'm just going to kind of walk you through the cycle of what I do with my plants, but for you at home, you know, depending on your zone 2, you can experiment with them. So having them bloom for the holidays is perfect. And then after the flowers have faded, you want to go ahead and cut them right at the top of the neck. So you'll be deadheading the flowers. And I know it's a little scary. But you can kind of see here where this one's previously been snipped. So right there at the top. And then you're going to have the leaves, the beautiful leaves, and you're going to keep it as a house plant, and you're going to keep up the care with just the leaves. So you're not going to see flowers again until the following holidays. And then for me, I wait until it starts to warm up outside. It's a beautiful house plant in its filtered sunlight, still caring for it. Late May, bring the potted plant outside. If you'd like, you can keep it as a house plant, but in my zone, this works great. And then you're just going to have it as a potted plant outside. And then the end of August is when it needs to go into dormancy if you want to force it to bloom again for the holidays. So the end of August, bring the pots in to a dark, cool spot, much like the cyclamen. And here you want to do it for 2 to 3 months. So end of August, then it would be in the dark, cool spot, and I don't water it. I literally just neglect it for September, October, and then early November. That's when you want to bring it out of dormancy, because remember, depending on the variety, you're going to need a good 8 to 10 weeks to get it to bloom. So early November, you put it back in your filtered sunlight and you start caring for it again. So I feel like it's pretty easy, but I'm going to let you have fun with it. And again, you know, experiment with all these. There's so many different ways that you can decorate with them or wrap them for gifts. So just enjoy them and have a little fun. So again, I want to wish all of you a very happy holiday. I hope you're healthy and happy and surrounded by friends and family. And I want to thank you so much for joining me. We have lots more videos to bring you in the new year. So if you like our videos, tap like and hit subscribe for some future gardening fun with us.